Authenticity is a fragile thing. What if your very existence was a meticulously crafted lie, so perfectly maintained that the truth was never meant to be found? This isn't about choice. It's about design. You are not watching this by accident. This is what truly happens when a life is engineered, not lived. What breaks when the performance becomes the person. For some, identity is a negotiation. For others, it's a constant, silent war, a perpetual balancing act on the edge of a blade. You think this is about her strength. It isn't. It's about the deep, psychological cost of performing perfection. How long can a person hold a shattered mirror and still pretend to be whole? The question isn't if it breaks, but when. Enter Yor Forger. On the surface, she is simplicity itself, a kind, somewhat clumsy wife and mother, endearingly awkward. A doting figure who struggles with basic domesticity but possesses an unwavering loyalty to her makeshift family. This is the image presented, the comfort zone the narrative builds around her. But that comfort hides a mechanism far more intricate and far more disturbing. You're told she's a good person, and she tries to be. But the Yor Forger we see navigating grocery aisles and school events is a carefully constructed persona. A mask worn for survival, not expression. It's designed to be unassuming, to blend in, to hide the true purpose she serves. This is where it breaks, the assumption of a singular, evolving character. Yor Forger isn't written in the traditional sense of character growth. She is engineered. Her character arc is not about becoming whole, but about perfecting the art of being fundamentally fractured. Her kindness is often a lack of social understanding or a practiced generic warmth. Consider the framing. Her incredible strength, her lethal skill, is almost exclusively confined to her Thorn Princess identity. In her domestic life, it's suppressed, hinted at through improbable feats of physical endurance or bursts of power when her family is threatened. These aren't seamless traits. They are deliberate narrative separations. You think her clumsiness is endearing? But here's the contradiction. The world's most lethal assassin struggles with basic social interaction, navigating a kitchen, or even simple conversation without immense awkwardness. This isn't a quirk. It's a design choice. It creates a psychological distance, reinforcing the separation between you're the civilian and you're the weapon. This keeps her identities distinct, safe from merging. We rarely get deep, internal monologue from Yor. Her character is largely defined by external action and the interpretations of others. Her true thoughts remain elusive. This narrative silence is not an oversight, it's a barrier. It prevents us, and crucially, it prevents her, from truly examining the chasm between her two selves. And this is the mistake everyone misses. Her perceived weaknesses are not character flaws to be overcome, but structural necessities. They are what allow the Yor Forger persona to exist without compromising the Thorn Princess. You might recognize this compartmentalization in your own life. Her overreactions to perceived threats, her struggle with cooking, her social awkwardness. These are not flaws to be overcome, but narrative tools to reinforce the split. To show how much she relies on the simpler, less demanding framework of family to anchor her while her true self remains deadly. Her domestic tranquility wasn't freedom, it was containment. A different kind of cage, perhaps, but a cage nonetheless. It provided a structure, a purpose, that kept her fractured self from drifting apart completely. Her childlike innocence or naivete in social settings isn't a weakness but a shield. It keeps her separate. It ensures her darker nature goes unexamined by those around her, allowing her to maintain the illusion of an ordinary life. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Her simplicity is a fortress, not a vulnerability. She isn't seeking to integrate these identities. She's striving to perfectly execute both. The validation she receives from her family as Yor, and the validation she receives from the garden as the Thorn Princess, both are crucial. Both prevent her from needing to merge, from facing a singular self. You might recognize this pattern in your own pursuit of different forms of validation, the work self, the family self, the social media self. We perform roles, and sometimes the applause for those roles becomes more important than the person behind them. Yor Forger simply takes this to a more extreme, lethal degree. This is the deep psychological cost of her fracture. She doesn't seem to possess a true self that encompasses both. They are distinct, almost separate beings coexisting in one body, carefully managed. It's a fundamental split. So what happens when the fragile walls between these worlds finally crumble and there's no singular self left to pick up the pieces? Yor's journey isn't towards becoming one person. It's towards a masterful maintenance of her own internal schism. Her happiness is conditional on this balance. It's a quiet tragedy, a character designed to exist in fragments, never truly whole, always performing. She is a solution to a narrative problem, not a person evolving towards self-actualization. Her strength lies not in integrating these worlds, but in keeping them from ever truly touching. It is a silent, constant effort. A precarious tightrope walk over an abyss of self-discovery she seems intentionally designed to avoid. How often do you maintain separate versions of yourself to fit different expectations, to the point where you forget who the real you is? Yor Forger is a magnifying glass on this human tendency. She holds up a mirror to the convenient fictions we tell ourselves or allow others to believe about who we truly are. She exists in perfect equilibrium, a killer who desires a normal family, a wife whose true profession demands solitude and death. The narrative provides her with both, but never truly unites them. It's a piece built on exquisite fundamental division. What does it truly mean to live, when your very existence is defined by roles, by performance, and the deepest parts of you must remain forever hidden? The question isn't if Yor Forger can maintain her balance, it's what happens when the audience realizes the true cost of her performance and what it demands of her every single day. What do you think? Comment your take and subscribe for more. It demands an exquisite awareness of boundaries, an intuitive understanding of which persona to present and when. This isn't just acting, it's a fundamental division of consciousness. The Thorn Princess doesn't merely pretend to be Yor Forger, she is Yor Forger in her domestic life. And Yor Forger, in turn, doesn't simply play the role of assassin, she becomes the Thorn Princess when duty calls. There is no central switch, no conscious decision to put on oneself over another, but rather an almost instinctive reorientation of her entire being, tailored to the immediate demands of survival and obligation. This seamless transition, this lack of visible friction, is precisely what makes her so effective and so terrifyingly detached from a unified self. It suggests a mind not merely compartmentalized, but fundamentally structured around these separate operational systems. Imagine the quiet hum of two distinct engines running simultaneously within one chassis, each perfectly tuned, rarely interfering, yet never truly merging their output. Her internal world, if we could glimpse it, would not be a tapestry of experiences, but perhaps a meticulously organized archive, where memories and emotions are filed under Forger family or garden assignments with very little cross-referencing. The clumsiness you perceive in her civilian guise, it serves a purpose. It is disarming, humanizing, a deliberate lowering of the threat assessment from anyone observing her. It's a beautifully crafted facade, perhaps even one she has come to embody so thoroughly that it feels authentic within the Yor Forger framework. But it is still a framework. There's an underlying precision, a lethal grace that even her most exaggerated stumbles cannot fully obscure to a keen eye. It's like watching a master artisan feign awkwardness. The inherent skill is always there, lurking beneath the surface, ready to be unleashed. This is why her happiness, as the previous narration touched upon, is so conditional. It's not a state of being, but a carefully maintained equilibrium between two active forces. Should one world demand too much, or the boundaries between them blur beyond repair, the entire structure risks collapse. And what would be left then? A void? A fractured echo of the roles she once played with no central Yor to experience the unraveling? The true tragedy isn't that she might lose her balance, but that her very existence is the balance. There is no true self waiting to be discovered, only the intricate mechanisms of her double life. Her quiet tragedy deepens further when you consider the concept of growth. Most characters evolve, learn, integrate new experiences into a developing sense of self. Yor doesn't. She adapts, yes, but always within the parameters of her two distinct roles. Any growth is about becoming a better wife or a better assassin, never about becoming a more unified Yor. She is a master of compartmentalization, not integration. Her strength is her inability to synthesize, and in that strength lies her profound, unyielding solitude.